Over the weekend, the fringes of the Democrat Party once again proved that they are the ones indeed running the show. We have compiled some of the greatest hits. We start in New York City, a manic, radical left-winger right here, half naked outside Basilica of Old St. Patrick in New York, smashing the heads of baby dolls into the ground. Quite a spectacle there. Temper tantrums like this, not hard to find. Unfortunately, in L.A., they dressed up like the TV show The Handmaid's Tale. They invaded a church, pretty much on par for the failing actors littering the streets of Hollywood. In Wisconsin, a pro-life group's headquarters were firebombed. Nice message sprayed painted on the outside of the building. If abortions aren't safe, then you aren't either. Oh, you see how it is. The noise is so loud, you would think that half of this country was militantly in favor of the status quo, which is a Supreme Court decision from 49 years ago that is being dramatically abused, continuing to allow Americans more extreme abortion rights than almost any other civilized place on earth. The reality is Democrats in Washington have simply aligned themselves once again with the tiny minority on the far left end of their spectrum, the very loud and the very angry. Mitch McConnell spelled out the situation pretty clearly today. Take a listen.
7% of Democrats in Congress are co-sponsors of an outcome that has 19% public support. Democrats want to wreck our institutions over their fringe position that Americans do not share.
And it is a fringe position for most people. Most people don't think that abortions should be elective at 6, 7, 8 months. They don't. Look at the polling. It's been remarkable watching this administration abandon the largest swath of their supporters, but that is what we're seeing as Biden's enablers steer this withering old man on a crusade to the far left, forcing an old school Democrat to transition into a woke liberal in the last stages of his life. It is tantamount to elder abuse. And Biden is once again leaving most of his supporters disillusioned. Amid all the insane noise from the liberal outlets, of which there has been way too much of, there was actually a very interesting and a very honest moment on Bill Maher's show on Friday.
I learned things this week, because this put it on the front page, that are pretty basic things that I did not know about abortion. Like in Europe, the modern countries of Europe, way more restrictive than we are, or what they're even proposing. If you are pro-choice, you would like it a lot less in Germany and Italy and France and Spain and Switzerland. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
Neither did I. Nobody knew that, right? Until maybe a week or two ago. And everyone should have. And to be fair, Bill Maher is extremely pro-choice. He was actually, right up until he couldn't care less about kids. That's Bill Maher. That's who he is. But his shock is what I'm trying to show you here. Because his shock is very important. Because most people who claim to support Roe versus Wade, and there's a lot of people that say that Roe should be protected, but those people have no idea how extreme the laws in this country have become underneath Roe versus Wade. That moment you just saw perfectly sums up the problem with Roe. The status quo has been insane. The protections of Roe have led to radical, extremely radical abortion laws nationwide. It was not the right precedent to set. It is wrong in so many ways. And now, interestingly enough, we're watching Democrats melting down over plans to restrict or even abolish abortion in some red states, which, whatever your opinion is, maybe that's going too far the other way. But their appalled reaction has been quite rich to watch. After 49 years of conservatives having the same reaction with absolutely no recourse. Take a look.
And make no mistake, this is the biggest rollback of human rights in modern U.S. history.
Everything is at risk.
This is an earthquake. It's an earthquake for constitutional rights in this country. It's an earthquake for millions of women in this country.
Honestly, I want to cry. I want to cry.
What will we do? Well, you could vote if this happens. If some red states go too far and implement abortion policies that people don't want, they can simply vote for change. And now Republicans living in hyper pro-choice states like Colorado, Oregon, D.C., Alaska, where elective abortions are allowed until birth. And in some places, they actually use your tax dollars to pay for third trimester abortions. Well, now there's a recourse for those Republicans as well, because this is all going to go back to the states if this happens. The left is simply mad because one of the most ridiculous and obscenely partisan Supreme Court rulings ever, one that even Ruth Bader Ginsburg admitted she disagreed with, will likely soon vanish. And they're very pissed off to lose an entitlement. Of course, Democrats, they hate losing entitlements, right? But of course, the politics of this moment are really what Democrats care about the most. That's what it's really all about. Something for the midterms, a nice distraction. And as protesters illegally try to intimidate Supreme Court justices, showing up at the homes of the conservatives, it's plain to see that the White House doesn't seem to care at all. They sure make a big deal about much less on the other side, but this, oh, they couldn't care less. Listen to MSNBC's newest star, Jen Psaki, still at the White House today, reading the lines she knows she needs to say.
We have not seen violence or vandalism against Supreme Court justices. We have seen it at Catholic churches. That's unacceptable.
Oh, so nobody's shot a Supreme Court justice yet, so everything's fine. And it's unacceptable that you would, try to burn down a Catholic church or something like that. I mean, could she care any less? Could she possibly care any less? Of course not. She's loving this moment. Stir it up as much as possible. Let's get them really pissed off. Steve Scalise pointing out the very obvious. Yesterday, leftist abortion groups, activists set fire to pro-life groups' headquarters, but today it doesn't even make the homepages of the mainstream media's websites. Of course it's not going to. They're not going to cover this. They support this. They support what they're trying to do, so they don't want to highlight anything negative. This is Samuel Alito's home just a couple hours ago. They're outside of the Supreme Court justice's home yelling, "F you, Alito," and nobody cares. No arrests. On CNN, one woman effectively begging for violence.
A conversation about civility feels like it misses the mark when constitutional rights that you believe that you had for over 50 years are about to be overturned.
Oh, a conversation about civility misses the mark. So civility's off the table now. So basically, whoever the hell that woman was, she's basically saying, you know what, let's go ahead and get violent now. Let's do whatever we have to because they're about to handmaid tale this whole country, and we must do this. Thankfully, idiots like that are in the minority. A new Rasmussen survey indicates 72% of Americans do not support the liberal position that abortion should be allowed at any point in the pregnancy, which is what Roe has effectively allowed. Take that for what it's worth. And a CNN poll shows that Republican enthusiasm has expanded. If you look at the before and after, before what, 47% for Republicans, plus 11? After the SCOTUS leak, plus 13 for Republicans. Make of that what you will.